Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rechak, Dash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Alright, I have a couple of articles here. Alright, just going to go through a few of them. Alright, going into the signs of the times. Alright, now, as you can see here, this is from zerohedge.com. And as you can see here, it says CDC and TSA form federal mask police. Alright, and enforcement is up to officer discretion. And we already know, alright, we already know where this is going to go. Okay, it's going to turn out to be an abuse of power. All right, and you're going to have a lot of incidences that are going to result from this. All right, so it says the Centers for Disease Control and the Transportation Security Administration have teamed up in an effort to enforce mask wearing in public conveyances and transportation hubs for the preservation of human life. Okay, all right, that's interesting. It says this isn't a pro or con mask article because that could be considered disinformation. The heightened emotions around the mask debate have become tribal in nature, and nothing written by me or anyone else is likely to change the minds that have already been made up. And now you can look at this, double masks. Are you kidding me? You people just want to suffocate, don't you? All right, so it says this article merely outlines the new rules to be enforced by the new mask police. Now you got a special force, and they're talking about they want to mail masks to to everybody. So be careful now, because now that they made, because remember February 1st, that effect of mandating masks in public areas. Okay, that federal mandate came into effect. So now you might be on a train, and these mask police, you best believe they're gonna be on some grimy type joint, because here it is, your mask is just a little, down past your nostrils. They're already coming on your ass. All right, because it says what? It's up to their discretion. So it says the article. All right, some readers may be concerned about the risk of arbitrary enforcement and excessive potential punishment to which those using public transportation will be subject. Elizabeth Nolan Brown writes for Reason.com, the order will be enforced by Transportation Security Administration, or TSA agents, and other federal authorities, as well as state and local officials. To the extent permitted by law, federal agencies are required to implement additional measures enforcing the provisions of this order, the CDC says. The CDC reserves the right to enforce through criminal penalties. Okay, so it's basically a crime. All right, because they're gonna punish you like it's a crime. If you're not complying with this with these new regulations. All right, and this is a part of the new normal. So it says the agency adds, though it claims not to intend to rely primarily on these criminal penalties, which, nobody believes that, man. That's just a little damage control that they throw in there, when they say things like that. So it says the feds may also implement additional civil measures enforcing the provisions of the order, which is not a rule within the meaning of the Administrative Procedure Act. The CDC notes, but rather is an emergency action. You hear that? What that is the emergency action, emergency policies, emergency laws, and emergency powers that's just a way to bypass, like a loophole to bypass, infringing upon your, certain rights or freedoms that you may have prior to this pandemic. So the second they throw out that emergency this, then that's like, all right, whatever you thought you had is now null and void based on what, we're trying to go for. Okay, so you have the right to breathe. Well, it's an emergency, so now you don't. So basically, we don't get to know ahead of time with the criminal what the criminal penalty might be, as it is not outlined in either the CDC order or the executive order, which is dangerous because here it is, they hit you with something and you don't even know what they're about to hit you with, so they could take it to the highest extent. Now they're talking about enforcing these policies of wearing a mask. Now they could give you a fine, all right, which is most common that we see, all right, but as it says, they haven't outlined exactly what they're going to do. So now it's up to it's a matter of time before we start finding out, because obviously there are going to be people who are not with this, all right, or who are caught in a situation like this, and we're going to find out what it is, all right. But don't be surprised if they start coming out with even more ridiculously annoying measures. Now, it doesn't matter if you're on public transportation. If you're using public roads, you got to have your mask on. You walking outside, you got to have your mask on. You driving in your car, you have to have your mask on. So soon they're going to say the only place you can't have it on is in your house. And then soon that's going to change. All right. It says back in early 2020, would you have imagined that your decision of whether to wear a face covering or not could one day be a federal crime? Look at that. Well, now it is. All right, now it is. But here it is. We warned you about it, and we're just a bunch of conspiracy nuts. It says, here's what the CDC has to say about the order. The CDC issued a lengthy PDF order on January 29th. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued an order on January requiring the wearing of masks by travelers to prevent spread of the virus that caused C-19, or that causes C-19. Conveyance operators must also require all persons on board to wear masks when boarding, disembarking, and for the duration of the travel. So the second if it's a train station, the second you get up on that, you got to have it on throughout the whole ride and when you leave it. All right. Operators of transportation hubs must require all persons to wear a mask when entering, all right, or on the premises of a transportation hub, subway station, train station, bus stop, whatever. This order must be followed by all passengers on public conveyances, e.g. airplanes, ships, ferries, trains, subways, buses, taxis, ride shares, all right, traveling into, within, or out of the United States, as well as conveyance operators, crew, drivers, conductors, and other workers involved in the operation of conveyances. So, you an Uber driver, mask up. Mask up, jab up, die up, It says, and operators of transportation hubs, airports, buses, or ferry terminals, train or subway stations, seaports, ports of entry, or any other area that provides transportation in the United States. So now what you're seeing is you want to travel, all right? You want to move around. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You want to travel and move around. Now you got to have a mask on your face. Now we're making it a mandate. We're making it a law, right? Because that's really what it is. And you don't want to do this. Well, you're gonna don't take public transportation, or you're just going to be charged with criminal penalties. It'll be a federal crime, right? Now, notice how they're getting more serious with these mask mandates, and they're broadening their array of where these masks are mandated. And very soon, that's going to turn into the jabs. Okay, very soon, if you see an article, it's not going to just be masks. It's going to be jabs as well. They're saying here that they're going to require you to have a mask and make sure you wear it all throughout, but soon they're gonna say they're gonna require you to show proof that you've been jabbed up. Now, right now, they're still so-called figuring out a way to have a basic generic or default system of being able to, you know, first off, get the jab out to everybody. All right, so then you don't have an excuse. You can't say, oh, well, it's not the public's turn yet. You know, it's these, what do you call frontline workers and so on and so forth. So I haven't had a chance, you know, to get the jab. So once it becomes publicly available, then don't be surprised when these things starts to switch. When instead of seeing masks, you start to see the jab. Okay, and then they tell you all these things I just read here now applies to the jab as well. Okay, and then they're gonna add more things. Because it doesn't stop. It's called gradualism. It says, please keep in mind, this is the same CDC that told us last March that we should definitely not wear masks. Interesting, huh? The CDC said last month it doesn't recommend people use face masks, making the announcement on the same day that the first case of person-to-person, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is from back then in March or so. The first case of person-to-person transmission of C-19 was reported in the U.S. The CDC recommendation on the mask stands, a spokesman told Market Watch Wednesday, even with the first reported case of C-19 infection in an individual in California who had not been to China or been exposed to a person diagnosed with the virus. So when it first came, you told people not to mask up. Now that it's already spreading, now you want to tell, I'm sorry, you know, now you need a mask to protect against it. So you allowed it to spread, and now you're saying, oh, well, now let's try to contain it. Because that's what it's looking like. All right. It says the virus is not spreading in the general community. Oh, wow. This is what they were telling you last year. Dr. Nancy Messonnier, director of the Center for National Center of Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, said in a January 30 briefing, we don't routinely recommend the use of face masks by the public to prevent respiratory illnesses or illness. But you see, you're going to say this back then, and then now you're going to turn around and turn it into a whole mandate. And what's the excuse? Oh, well, we didn't know enough about this virus at the time. So now we're getting more information and we think this is the safest way to go. Yeah. And we certainly are not recommending that at this time for this new virus. It would be one thing to have federal officers roaming around public transit, targeting those who aren't wearing masks at all. But this order is far more detailed, leaving a troubling number of details up to the discretion of the agent. What kind of mask is required? Let me see. It says what kind of mask is required. The mask itself must be compliant. The following are attributes of masks needed to fulfill the requirements of the order. CDC will update this guidance as needed. So now there's a specific kind of mask you got to wear. A properly worn mask completely covers the nose and mouth. Don't talk, don't breathe. Cloth masks should be made with 2 or more layers of breathable fabric that is tightly woven. Fabrics that do not let light pass through when held up to a light source. Oh boy. Masks should be secured to the head with ties, ear loops, or elastic bands that go behind the head. You know, like a muzzle. Let's look up a muzzle. Let's see for dogs. Something like that. All right. But, basically covering up your whole joint where, there ain't no breathing, ain't no nothing. You can't speak, you can't breathe, none of that. All right. That's what they want to do. They want to muzzle your ass so you can't, you can't say anything, And people are actually with this. I mean, look how stupid and ridiculous this sounds. But people will actually come against you. People will snitch on you. People will make a scene, cause, try to start an argument, try to offer you one. Young man, where's your mask at? I mean, you people are just, that's why these elites are, they're having fun. You know why? Because that's why they call you Goyim. Because they're like the population, especially Americans. All right. They're like the majority of the population of Americans are so dumb that their mental capacity is likened unto that of a cow. All right. Cattle. That's why they call you Goyim. Okay. Because literally that's how they think you are. They don't even, that's why they put these things plain out there, right? because they're like, even if we put it right in front of your face, you're not going to see it. And that's why we are such a threat, because we're the ones who are actually seeing it. But at the same time, it's like, they're like, well, you've seen it, but I mean, go ahead. They're not going to hear it. You know, you could tell them all day long. They're not going to hear it. You know, so in their minds, they're saying, well, just eliminate us. And they know they're going to have the support of the those in the public who are ignorant enough to believe them. And then that's it. They could keep it pushing. You know, these ignorant people, not all of them, but there's a majority of them are asleep, and they're without knowledge, and they lack the spirit to be able to inquire and use common sense at least. And so it's easy for these elites to just, you know what, yeah, use them, you know, useless eaters. Okay, so it says masks should be okay. I read that. Masks should fit snugly but comfortably against the side of the face. Okay, let's look that up. Snugly. In a comfortable, warm, and cozy, well-protected manner, in a way that is tight or close-fitted. Okay? I mean, man, this is just... I mean, you can't see what they're doing here. Okay? Here it is. You look at, let's say, 2016, for example, and you look at 2021. If you were to watch a scene or a clip from 2016, you were those who have fallen for their propaganda, you'd probably be afraid. You'd be like, oh my gosh, look at how close they were together. It'll almost look weird to you because they have desensitized your minds. You know, you look around like they have no mask. Look at how close they are together. The touching and this and that. I mean, that was normal, right? But now looking back, it doesn't look so normal. And this is the direction the world is headed in. Now they've switched normality to abnormality, and they switched abnormality to normality. That's you know, they've done a 180 on you people. Okay, it says masks should be a solid piece of material without slits, exhalation valves, or punctures. So how the hell am I supposed to get the carbon dioxide out and get the oxygen in? You want me to? I can't exhale. Do you know why the human body exhales? Okay, you take in the oxygen and you release the carbon dioxide. You're not supposed to breathe that back in. That's why when somebody's in a completely tight space, an airtight space, eventually they suffocate. You know why? They tell you don't talk too much, because you're sucking up all the oxygen and you're releasing that carbon dioxide, and eventually you're gonna run out of oxygen in there. So why the hell are you telling people not to have a mask that has an exhalation valve? So how the hell are they supposed to? I mean, are we the only people who have a working brain that can see this? I mean, just incredible, unbelievable. But wait, there's more. The following attributes are additionally acceptable as long as masks meet the requirements above. Masks can be either manufactured or homemade. Masks can be reusable or disposable. You see, they'll say that now, right? But then you get on that train and the dude walks up to you. He's like, "Oh, what brand is that?" You're like, "It's homemade." Huh? No, can't have that. No, but the requirement said, no. I'm telling you, you can't have that. You know why? Because like they said, this is up to the agent's discretion. And you know what all this is going to lead to? Let me get a quick precept. This is Isaiah 24:11. It says, "There's a crying for wine in the streets," which ultimately represents this truth. All right. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. That's what's going to happen. And you people are going to allow, you know what you people are like? For those who have not read Animal Farm, all right, the book Animal Farm, or watched it, take a look into it. And specifically look up, you know, if you read it, pay attention to the character Boxer. I believe he was a horse. Pay attention to Boxer, because that's what the majority of these people are like. Boxer was that obedient one who just did as he was told. And you know what happened to Boxer at the end? They murked his ass. Okay? He was literally led to the slaughter. All right, if my memory serves me right. And that's these people. So you are literally you're leading them to take away your freedoms, your joy, and all of that. But that's okay though, because it's to fulfill prophecy. So it says all joy is darkened. You think that what you're doing is going to lead to your joy? No, it's not. The mirth of the land is gone, and it ain't coming back anytime soon, at least not for you people. And the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Because what they're doing right now is they're taking power. All right, they're just completely enslaving you people. And then you're going to turn around and say, how did we get here? You know, my goodness, how did we get to this point? Masks can be reusable or disposable. Masks can have inner filter pockets. Clear masks or cloth masks with a clear plastic panel may be used to facilitate communication with people who are hearing impaired or others who need to see a speaker's mouth to understand speech. Medical masks and N95 respirators fulfill the requirements of the order. The new rules don't stop there. What kind of masks don't qualify as masks? As per the CDC, the following are not sufficiently compliant. The following do not fulfill the requirements of the order. Mask worn in a way that does not cover both the mouth and nose. See, you gotta cover the mouth and the nose. Face shields or goggles. Face shields or goggles may be worn to supplement a mask that meets above required attributes. So if you're gonna wear a face shield, you gotta have a mask under that. Scarves don't work. Ski masks don't work. Balaclavas. Let me see what that is. Let's see. Oh, these things. Did you look at that? Okay. So this doesn't work. But I mean, it covers your nose and mouth. Look, it's covering his nose and it's covering. Nope, it ain't gonna work. Or bandanas. Bandanas don't work. It says shirt or sweater collars pulled over the nose and mouth. And nope, not gonna work. That's jail. That's jail time right away. All right. Masks made from loosely woven fabric that are knitted, jail. Fabrics that let light pass through, jail. Masks made from materials that are hard to breathe through, such as vinyl, plastic, or leather, that's jail time. Masks containing slits, exhalation valves, or punctures, and I mean, bro, let's type this in here. Mask with X. So you can't have something like this. Now, please tell me why they would create a mask with something like this. What is the purpose of having an exhalation valve? Maybe because the manufacturers realize that you are covering all areas where the fresh air can come in through. So, in to prevent keeping that hot ass carbon dioxide in here, you got to give it space to come out, so you can get fresh air that goes in. I think maybe that's what they were trying to get at. That's why they created a mask with an exhalation valve. But no, the CDC comes and says, no. What? What do you mean? Nah, you can't have that. You know, you can't be breathing over here. What are you talking about? When you suffocate, that's when you know you're doing it right. You know, when you end up in the hospital and they tell you ain't gonna make it, you know, it's time to meet your maker. At least you know that you followed the guidelines correctly. Man. It says masks that do not fit properly. Large gaps, too loose or too tight. It says when can masks be off? Good news. You don't have to wear a mask all the time on public transit. The following are the exceptions from page 4 of the order. Okay. It says, in addition, the requirement to wear a mask shall not apply under the following circumstances: while eating, drinking, or taking medication for brief periods. And look, they put these things out there, but remember, these agents who are enforcing these regulations, they're not gonna come as, oh, you eating? Okay, I'll let you do that. Some of them are complete a-holes who they're just gonna say, I don't care if you're eating or drinking, put your mask up. And then you're gonna say, but in the guidelines it says while I'm eating, and then they're gonna say, are you arguing with me? And then they're gonna get upset, and then boom, you get dragged off the train anyway. Okay, because it's just like certain laws that are in place today, and here it is, a cop pulls you over and you try to, bring those those rights and stuff, and they just, man, they're like, look, bro, get on the car and put your hands behind your back. I'm arresting you. They don't care. All right, it's not fair. They don't follow their own laws. So don't think that because they put this here, you have a way out. It's only gonna be like this for a short period of time before they run all over this joint. All right. It says, while communicating with a person who is hearing impaired, when the ability to see the mouth is essential for communication. If on an aircraft, wearing of oxygen mask is needed because of loss of cabin pressure or other event affecting aircraft ventilation. If unconscious, for reasons other than sleeping. Incapacitated. So if you're sleeping, you gotta have it on. All right. Yeah, so they're saying basically, look, if you're unconscious, all right, maybe you incapacitated, you're unable to be awakened, or otherwise unable to remove the mask without assistance, okay, then you don't have to have the mask on. But if you're just sleeping, nah, you keep that on. It says, or when necessary to temporarily remove the mask to verify one's identity, such as during transportation, security administration screening, or when asked to do so by the ticket or gate agent or any lawful enforcement official. So they want to see your face, they want to identify you, you can take it off for a brief second. If not, you keep that joint on. It says, bad news, the amount of time considered reasonable for the for the above exceptions is entirely up to the discretion of the officer. Exactly what I said. It's up to them. So look, the thing says, right here, while eating, drinking, or taking medications for brief periods. But that's up to them. So one might say, I'll give you 5 minutes, finish that sandwich. Other might say, you better chew it down in 2 seconds, because in 2 seconds, that mask better be up. Some might just tell you ain't even gonna get to eat it. Wait till you get off the whatever transportation you're on, all right, or wherever you at. It says vagueness is never a good thing in mandates because so much is open to interpretation, and that really depends on the personal biases of the person interpreting. But unfortunately, you can interpret it one way, but they have the power. So how they interpret it is how they're going to enforce it. Who is exempt? There are a few people who are exempt from being targeted by mask police. A child under the age of 2 years old. If you over 2 years old, they might just come for you too. A person with a disability who cannot wear a mask or cannot safely wear a mask because of the disability as defined by the Americans with Disabilities Act. A person for whom wearing a mask would create a risk to workplace health, safety, or job duty as determined by the relevant workplace safety guidelines or federal regulations. Okay? And as we've been telling you, these laws and regulations are gonna get more annoying, more tedious, more vexing. It's gonna be ridiculous, man. And you might not care until they actually come and try to enforce it on you. And like you just go home furious. You start meditating things that you want to, because it'll be annoying, man. It'll be vexing. Okay, because they'll tiptoe the line, of, here it is, they're borderline telling you to do something that, they won't tell you directly just yet. Hey, you do this and go against the Most High. But they'll get so close to where you still have to comply, but they haven't gone far enough to where you can just say, nah, I'm not with this. You're basically blatantly telling me to go against the Lord. It says, it appears that folks who wrote these rules have never met 2-year-olds. I could barely keep socks and winter hats on my kids, much less a mask on their faces. So they might just find a parent for it. You also don't have to wear a mask in the following conveyances. Persons on board, such as private conveyances operated solely for personal, non-commercial use. So maybe your own car. But that's for now. Commercial motor vehicles or trucks, as these, so that's what it is. As these terms are defined in 49 CFR 390.5, if the driver is the sole occupant of the vehicle or truck. So if there's multiple people in there, no, that ain't right. You got to be the only one in there. Conveyances operated or chartered by the U.S. military service, provided that such conveyance operators observe Department of Defense precautions to prevent the transmission of C-19 that are equivalent to the precautions in this order. This follows new mask policies. The Biden administration has wasted no time in mandating masks. On his first day in office, Biden signed an executive order requiring masks on all personal property. That's what I was mentioning earlier, including national parks and inside federal buildings. He also issued a 100-day mask challenge for all Americans. Nobody want to do your damn challenge, bro. You know? This place is just, this is why we need deliverance. You know, it's literally going to get to the point where it's going to be impossible, all right, to live, just to live peacefully, just so they leave you alone. This is not, they're going to come for you. You know, you want to live, live your own life. You want them to leave you alone. They're not going to do that. All right. They're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming for you until you have nowhere else to go. But the Lord said when they do come in like a flood, He's going to what? He's going to lift up that standard. All right. Now you have this. All right. Just going to read the headline real quick. It says here, a wake-up call. AstraZeneca jab fails to prevent the mutated C-19 strain or CV strain from South Africa. You know, you read into it, it tells you, it says here, as the FT warns of a new study showing that the AZV is less effective against the South African variant than initially believed, and often fails to prevent infections involving the new strain. So this big old bad South African variant is all over the place now, you know, and now their jabs are now ineffective. But what happened the last time there was a virus on the loose and you didn't have, you know, a potion for it, you know, or you had an ineffective potion for it? They locked things down, you know. So what are they going to do this time? Well, that's what we have to wait and see. But they're definitely getting ready to you know, amp this thing up. Okay, so you what you're seeing is they're promising you that you're getting closer to normal, but when you really look with your own eyes, you're getting further and further away from it. Okay, do you think that this right here that they're doing, the federal mask police, you think that's just gonna disappear one day? One day it's just gonna up and disappear? Ever since the influenza situation happened, every year they still tell you to go get a flu shot. Okay, and now these guys are telling you that this thing is here to stay. So if you think that at some point, if you continue to comply, I'm just going to comply, and at some point, hopefully in the future, we can go back to the way things were before. You would forget about what things were before that happens, because it's not going to happen. Everything that they're doing now, it's not just going to up and disappear one day. Okay? It's not. They're going to continue to push and push, because this is their great push for their New World Order. And before you know it, anything that you thought was normal is gone. And you look around and you don't even recognize the world you live in, but you're in it. All right? Transhumanists everywhere. Smart cities. You know, microchips in people's heads, people's arms, people's bodies. Cyborgs, half robots. I mean, there's just going to be some new joint. All right? And then lastly, you have here, Democratic bill to target social media giants over failure to police threats. Okay, and when you go into it, it's going into how they have the section, I believe it's 230, basically that sort of protects these social media platforms, you know, from being liable over the, let's say, the damage that comes from what their users put on their platforms. And now they're trying to, this bill is supposed to try and repeal that protection, you know. So what is that going to do? It's going to force these social media platforms to say, look, now I have to, you know, police what people put on my platform, because I can be at risk for it. You know, if any damage, somebody says something on YouTube, right? So everything you're seeing here is ultimately going to lead, all right, to full-blown Jacob struggle. And when that happens, I'll just close it out with this right here. All right, and even before then, okay, we're seeing this, Isaiah 33:6 says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." Because as these things are happening, people don't even know what it's going to lead to. So that instability that's also going to be another factor that drives people crazy, man. People committing suicide, people just being ruthless because they're not going to know what to do. Everybody is going to be, eventually this is going to blow up into something. All right, not just this, but all the other articles that I brought out. All right, it says, "And the strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure," because the fear of the Lord and the wisdom and knowledge, all right, from the truth, from the Spirit, is what's going to keep us stable. All right, it's what's gonna calm us and direct us and help us make rational decisions. All right, and ultimately, if we be of the elect, all right, it's, like it says, it's going to be the strength of our salvation. Okay, so hey, I mean, if you have, the Spirit is with you and you can see, all right, you should be able to tell that this place is just gone. All right, it's gone, man. And those that are with it are gonna go with it. Okay, but for those that are not, those that be of the elect, continue to pray, man. Continue to pray, because these devils are not wasting any time. All right, they're moving fast. As they say, laser speed. All right, so continue to pray, fast, and pray for fewer days, but pray for protection and pray for the Spirit to be able to endure when these things actually come to you. Okay, so with that, I hope you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.